Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Happy Friday!
Hey, here we are. Yes.
Woo! Basketball season's over, so we need to focus all of our attention on the Guardians for the next 4 months, right?
That's right.
Bull and I are in agreement with that.
She's like, wait a second
Yeah,
here.
what about the Browns?
I mean, I wouldn't have a problem. I think McNuggets will roll over on this plane wherever he at. He might not like that
Where's
too much.
his wedding this weekend?
I think it's in Boston.
Yeah, right.
Have you guys ever seen anybody go to as many weddings as Mikey
I mean,
McNuggets?
that's a third. Like, he's
in
the
that
age
age
for
group.
that. You know?
I get it.
Anthony's at a wedding today too. The Earl's by himself with Steve.
Well,
by the way,
have
if you
no friends get married?
No.
By the way, get a close up on my eye here.
You know what the marriage rates
See
are,
my eye?
Jay.
Yeah, what happened? I
My
saw
eye
that.
is jacked up. So I tweeted last. See, it's jacked up.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I told you not to say
So
that to your
I
wife.
tweeted. I tweeted last night about. I thought it was weak that Donovan Mitchell threw Chris Fedor under the bus. And people were so mad that somebody showed up at my house this morning, punched me in the eye. It was unbelievable. No, I got a busted capillary.
What
It's the second
happened?
time it happened to me. It
I
happened to me
remember when that happened.
2 years ago,
I
yeah.
remember when that happened.
And it goes away in a day or two. My doctor's, I'm like, I texted my doctor. I'm like, you sure there's nothing to worry about? She's like, no, these are freak things. They just happen.
Does it hurt? It looks like it was.
It looks awful.
Oh, my God.
I feel like I'm cross-eyed right now. I don't know.
Yes,
but it
because
doesn't.
you've got
No, it
dark-
doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
Wow.
I didn't even notice it, and all of a sudden my son goes, "Dad, what the hell happened to your eye?"
Have you tried Visine?
Nah, it's not that. It's a busted capillary, so it's not like I got allergies or something. It's just,
Wow.
It just looks.
Well, good
crappy.
luck with that. I hope that clears up.
Man.
So you took heat over a tweet.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, so Chris Fedor, who has defended the Cavs. Like, Chris is not out to get the Cavs. This is ridiculous.
Why? Do people think he is?
People think so. Chris said that Donovan. I don't have the exact words in front of me, but basically said that Donovan was frustrated at times with his teammates. That he felt there was immaturity. That they were like not ready for the playoffs at times, which is stuff that all of us have kind of said.
And I don't think he's alone in reporting that.
No, not at all. And Chris, how would Chris benefit for just making that up?
So I did see that Donovan backpedaled from that comment. And a little inside baseball stuff. You guys will understand this. When I say inside baseball, I mean inside the industry, inside journalism. Oftentimes, what happens is a player and I'm not suggesting this is what happened here. And I'm not going to take Chris's side. I'm not going to take Donovan's side. I don't know.
Yeah.
But oftentimes, what I've seen and what has happened to me in the past is athletes in the heat of the moment, when they are very frustrated after a loss that is particularly stinging, they say things. And not realizing that those things are now fair game. As long as that conversation was on the record,
Right.
those are fair game. So it would not be a reach to think that Donovan in frustration, whether either after the last loss or throughout the course of the season, had said things, dropped little breadcrumbs to let the media know, I'm not real happy right now. It's reported, and then the athlete clutches the pearls and is like, oh my goodness, I can't believe you wrote that.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what happened in this situation.
Yeah.
But
Well, that
I
makes a lot
personally
of
have been
sense.
involved in things like that.
Exactly. And listen, Chris didn't say Donovan's asking to get traded or any of that. He just said he was. Why wouldn't he be frustrated? Wouldn't you if you were scoring 50 in a playoff game on a bad knee and nobody was helping?
Everything that he was alleged to have said,
Yeah.
I not only understand,
Yeah.
I'm glad he said it.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that he said that I really glommed onto was the Cavs organization has the bar set too low. I want my superstar to think that.
Of course.
I want my superstar to, at the start of every season, say, we're going to win it this year.
The bar should always be the
That's
championship.
our goal. And if we don't, we failed.
Yes, 100%.
So everything he said, I'm fine with.
Yes, agreed.
I wish, people would just come out. I don't know if he said it or not. But like I said, I went back and watched what my comments were last year around this time with the Knicks. I wanted to refresh my memory and see if I was on the same type time. And I went back and was listening. And, I said it last year. There's always a point in your life where people are just very comfortable, right? Mm-hmm. People get comfortable in their jobs, comfortable in their relationship, comfortable in their lifestyle. And when people start to move, when adults have to move past their comfort zone, everybody just no, I can't do it. Go change somebody's routine. I have my coffee at 1 o'clock. I go eat the same donut every single day.
Yeah.
They didn't have sprinkles today. Listen, the Cavs are not a good enough team. It is what it is. But if you think that you just saying run it back means you're smarter than everybody or you have some restraint, no, you're just scared of change.
That's
and
right.
You don't know what the future holds. And you would rather think what you're doing right now is better than anything else they could have because at least I don't have to change the shirt that I wear on Friday.
I can understand that Donovan's probably most sensitive about the teammates, about the comments about his teammates. Because the one thing that we've learned from Donovan Mitchell is he is a good teammate. He does
Absolutely.
care. And so for comments that he's made either recently or in the past to surface now, I can understand why he would be upset about that. But if he said them, he's got to own them. And you can't roll on a reporter. That's his livelihood, too.
Yeah.
Just like basketball is Donovan's livelihood, Chris's livelihood is putting words to paper
and
so people can read them.
Chris could only possibly hurt himself by making that up. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
You've known Chris.
Yeah, of course. He would never make that
work.
up.
I don't know him personally very well, but I know his work and I know his reputation. Yeah. Chris isn't making stuff
Of course,
up.
that's ridiculous.
He's just not that kind of reporter.
and other people heard things. So listen, it is what it is. It's fine. He's not going to go back at Donovan Mitchell because that wouldn't benefit him.
No, he's got to lay low.
He's going to smooth it over behind the scenes. It's going to be fine.
That's
it's all
right.
good.
That's exactly right. All right, Mike is out. Anthony's out. That means Earl's behind the glass. Earl, good morning to you.
Good morning, brother. How you feel?
I'm great, man. How are you? Everything good?
Everything is great, man.
Love to hear it.
Steve is here. We're going to hold it down. We're going to fly this plane. We're going to land it smooth.
At 1
o'clock. We're going to drink
like we
tequila.
always do.
And we're going to have a damn good weekend. That's what we're going to do.
Right.
I'm heading for it. Baseball season starts.
That's right.
For
Big weekend.
my league. But Guardians are home.
City
we
Connects.
get to see the City Connect uniforms, which I love.
Love them too.
I can't wait to see
I don't
them.
know that we've all ever agreed that we like the uniform. You liked them too, you said, right?
Oh, yeah. Like,
No, we
they're
were all
sweet
thumbs
looking.
up.
I'm trying to figure out the
I was
way
going to buy one, but you know what the cost is at the team shop?
300.
$300.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's too high, guys.
What?
That's too high.
300.
It's too high.
I know all prices.
They won't
of
sell
jerseys.
those. They won't sell
No,
those.
not at 300. You got to know your audience, number one. Clevelanders just aren't going to spend $3 on a jersey. I mean, there will be people that do it.
Yeah.
But I'm someone who rarely looks at the price on things that I want. Like, if I want it, I want it. But I found out how much it was, and I'm like, okay, I guess I don't want it that much.
I mean, if you're not willing to pay 300,
That's
I don't think there's a lot of people that are going to be willing
No,
to
and
pay
at that point, it's just principle.
That's crazy.
You know what?
But the hoodies for $1 are smooth.
You heard what Drake said, man? You know what I'm saying? He's like, I always get it first. That's how you lead by example.
Well, I'm Team Drake, so I'm with him.
That was a hot line.
I get it.
Yeah.
But man, that's just a steep price, man.
Now,
That's-
is it?
They're
is
wearing
that the
them
authentic?
tonight, and they're wearing them Sunday.
Yeah, I thought they have to wear them every Friday home
Yeah, I'm
game.
getting one.
Right.
I guess it's their option whether or not they can wear them Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, they're wearing them this Sunday. I
Baseball
saw the
got-
schedule of all the games they're
Baseball
wearing.
got way too many rules. They
Yeah,
need to-
they've got. Hey, well, the NFL has uniform police.
That's true.
Like there is a. And
Yeah,
in
but the
most
NFL
cases,
can do anything and nothing.
They did take it
affects
off. They did take the penalty off the shoes and stuff. People can wear that now.
They did, but they still have. And I think it was. Is it Reggie Langhorne? There's a former player from the '80s who was the Browns uniform police officer.
Oh, really? I didn't
And he
realize that.
stands at the entrance every week, and as the players come through, he looks to make sure that there's no violation. The league's very particular.
Yeah,
about
they
that.
are.
Very
They
particular.
are.
All right, we have some business to do, Earl, and then we're going to dive back in on the Cavs.
Yeah, let's get to it. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. So right now, new customers is getting $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. All you got to do is visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book.
You know, it's funny. Speaking of championships, last night, a buddy of mine who I used to work with in New York was celebrating the Rangers getting to the Eastern Conference Finals in the Stanley Cup. And he's like, man, we've had 30 years of suffering. And I'm like, dude, you're a Yankees and Giants fan. I understand the Rangers haven't won in a while.
The breaks on suffering.
But I don't want to hear about your suffering.
But I will say, for the Rangers and the Knicks, it's been a drought.
It has been.
It's been Cleveland-esque.
Well, what's funny is the last time they were both in the finals in the same year, 30 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
The Rangers won the Stanley Cup. The Knicks lost in the final. The Knicks haven't won a championship, I think, since '69, I believe. I think it was
70?
Maybe it was 70. Somewhere around there. It's been a long time.
Shout out to
But
Mark.
I can't feel bad. Now, I
can't either.
If you're a Jets, Mets, Knicks, Rangers, I give you, that's fine.
It's been a minute.
You've only really won one championship in the last 55 years.
That was 86 for the Mets.
Right. That was a long time ago.
And then you got to go back to 69 for the Jets.
Right.
68.
But if you're a Giants and Yankees fan, you can.
Yeah.
But he responded, and this is funny because I wasn't really actively thinking about it. He's like, yeah, but Cleveland's seen the championship more recently than I have, and I was like, yeah, that's actually true.
That's beautiful.
Shout out to Mark Messier, wherever you at.
Yes,
He was
that's
the
right.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going nuts in New York right now for those two teams.
Yep.
Breaking news. Our rant has already yielded results.
Really?
Where'd you find that jersey? How much was it?
$174.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
174.
And I said, what, is that like one of the Chinese sites?
No, here you go.
Because they'll sell stuff for like $40.
I don't like them. They stole my Kool-Aid Mafia stuff.
did.
You
They did.
owe me money. But this is ready to go.
Where's that from?
That's the real deal. That's from Fanatics.
Fanatics.
175.
174.
So I don't know why the team shop is $125 more for one item.
Now,
And with these, I don't even have to leave my house.
Now
Right, and it will be there in no time.
That's
they
right.
only free express delivery. They give you that. And the order ships within 2 hours. And by the
So
way,
I could have that by Sunday's game.
yes, you could.
Yeah.
They only come in XL though. All the rest of the sizes for
So
We're out of luck.
two,
You
3,
can
and
wear
4
an
XL.
XL.
Well, they're sold out because it's a good
It's
price.
good deal.
That's a reasonable price. I mean,
That is
still
reasonable.
not cheap, but it's
It's not cheap, but
reasonable.
I would drop $175
Right,
for that.
300 is
we were in
crazy.
I can't do the $300 for one jersey. I can't do it.
There is a price. Like I've now.
There's a threshold.
I've put something in the budget. I can't go over $400 for like one piece of anything.
Is that according to you or according to Wifey?
No, we renegotiated my deal.
What was your max?
my max was like $250.
And now it's up to $400.
Now it's
Life
up to
is
$400.
good.
I mean, that's a good negotiation right there. You
Yeah.
almost doubled your max.
I think it's a great negotiation.
I had to get some things back though.
Something tells me you don't want to talk about what you
I
had to get back.
Yeah, I gave some things back, some concessions.
All right, Earl, business taken care of, or do we need to do another one?
No, we'll keep it going. So I'm
Okay.
pretty sure by now everybody has read the infamous article written by the athletic trio, including our own Jason Lloyd.
Napalm.
Jared Allen, Darius Garland, it seemed like everybody just took haymakers. Is this the end of the Cleveland Cavaliers' current core four?
What do you
It
guys
better
think?
be, guys.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, it better be. And I'll tell you, in a perfect world, to me, I think you move on from Jared Allen and Darius Garland. Yeah. And I would not have said the Jared Allen part even just 2 weeks ago. I've been down on Evan Mobley just like you guys, but I was really impressed with how he played in Boston. And that kind of changed my feeling. Plus, the Cavs believe in him, and maybe we see the best of his game if he becomes the number 2 option with the Cavs. I just really was impressed. And the playoff stats are misleading because he didn't play well in the Orlando series. But he was great in the Boston series, and he got better every game. He averaged, I think, 22 and 10.
Was that, though, because Porzingis was out?
Sure.
I want to temper the numbers a little bit.
I don't want to go over the top.
Yeah.
He's still going to struggle with the elite centers, no
Right.
doubt. But I thought there was clear progress made from him in this series. He showed more aggression, and so I want to see more of what he's got. We know what Jared Allen is, and because of some of the stuff that was written about Jared Allen and what happened here, I think you got to break the team up. It's got to be different. As long as Donovan Mitchell is willing to stay, which Jason, a lot of people thought he wasn't, and Jason's been saying he thinks he does want to stay now, and I'm going to trust Jason. He would know as well as almost anybody.
Sure.
So if Donovan Mitchell is willing to stay, then of course I'm choosing him over Darius Garland. The other choice is a little more debatable, but I think in the end, Mobley still has more upside than Allen, and so I'm trading Allen, and I'm trading Darius Garland. And I think one good fit, and Mike mentioned this yesterday, is the New Orleans Pelicans, who have a bunch of wing players, which is what they need to do.
Yeah, he's not the only one with the theory that New Orleans would work. What do you got? I know you're not running this back.
I didn't want to run it back last year.
I didn't either.
Yeah. I sat back and I watched everything play out. And look, people are saying, well, Jared Allen was your second best player. Well, let's go and analyze that. Can Jared Allen be the second best player on the championship team?
If you're asking that with Donovan Mitchell, the assumption that Donovan Mitchell is your best player, I don't know.
I don't think he.
I don't think so.
I mean, maybe if it's LeBron in his prime is the best player, but that's about it.
I mean, but LeBron plays with AD, who's light years.
Yeah, no, I'm saying
he hasn't won anything.
I'm saying
you're right.
maybe LeBron at his peak, which he's not at his peak anymore.
Right.
LeBron at his peak, maybe, but even that I'm not sure. So with nobody else,
and people shouldn't be surprised. I always talk about it like this: when you get drafted by somebody, you get a benefit of the doubt, right? You get that cachet. Mobley was drafted by him, right? So if you're looking at Allen, who they got in a trade from the Nets, he's performed great. I thought he had a great regular season, but what is the ceiling with this team? People say, well, they had guys in and out of the lineup, blah, blah, blah. But even when they played together, they didn't play well. Even when they played together, they still were not good enough to beat some of these teams. So for me, Allen is I'm not saying that he's on the cutting board or whatever. I'm not going to take pennies on a dollar for him, but I'm going to be looking to get better at the three position. For me, the guy with the highest, I guess, ransom or price to come back to you is Darius Garland.
Even though he's a max guy, that's not a max guy.
Right, because here's the thing. There's a lot of people that get max money or a lot of money, and other teams want to get rid of those guys too, right? Yeah. So the money has to match, right? So theoretically speaking, if you want to go get another good player, chances are that good player is making a lot of money somewhere else.
In all likelihood.
So you have to have some money to make the money match. And so in one way that could be a deterrent because he's making that much money, but
I see
also
what you're saying. That could help you.
But also that could help you because you would have to take something back to get something. So, and he's still young. He's still a guy that was a former All-Star. He's not that far removed from it. And this really also helps you because you think people say, his trade value. No. Best believe the Cavs are going into those phone calls saying, look, hey, we love Darius. He's a good kid, never in trouble, former All-Star. We just happened to go get Donovan Mitchell. We tried to make it work, and it just didn't work.
Not a fit.
It's not, but that may be the reason why he's not performing to where we were at. It's not the fact that he fell off. It's the fact that he
and there's evidence to back that up. He had his best year in his All-Star year before Donovan got here.
So that, you can get something. Just as a way however you got to spin it. But I think it's obvious, like Bull said, the two guys you're going to build around is Donovan Mitchell. And the thing that was so damning, and it wasn't even damning, it was more like, when you listen to what happened with Darius Garland and Mitchell, they say, his agent wants to say, all right, if you give Mitchell the contract extension, we might want to go look at other places, right? It's the same thing that happened to Colin Sexton.
Sure.
Happened here. He had Sexton. He was in a contract year, averaging 24 points a game, got hurt, came back, Darius thrived, and they said, well, we're going to pick Darius Garland. This is the way this thing works, right? So I think you can get something from Garland. I think you can get something from Mobley.
And guys, we talked about during the season when they played their best basketball, it was 4 guys on the perimeter and 1 guy in the paint. Now that guy was Jared Allen, but we didn't really get the chance to see it with Mobley. We did a little in the playoffs. Now he didn't in those last few games. Obviously Mitchell wasn't playing, but I also think, and I said this yesterday, if you get rid of Allen, then I think there's less pressure on Mobley to shoot threes because now he's the only big guy.
Right.
And maybe he can just keep improving his interior game. And, you're going to want him to take threes now and again, but I feel like there's less pressure on him. With Allen there, it felt like there was more pressure. And I think Mobley, even though, again, he's going to struggle with the Embiids or the Jokic's, who's not going to struggle with those guys, he's a 5. He's not a 4. And I think playing the 5 with 4 shooters around him, especially if they can get some bigger shooters who are wings, he has a chance to thrive in that. How good his ceiling is, who knows? But I want to see it. I want to see Mobley, Mitchell, and I want them to get the best wing player they can. You want to get another big guy for some minutes here, and in case Mobley gets hurt, but not somebody that's going to play as much as Jared Allen. I think.
We're in partial agreement. But for the most part, I'm sticking to my guns. What I said back in early February when Mike and a lot of our watchers looked at me as if I had 5 heads coming out of my neck. And that was Mobley and Garland should be on the trade block. I start this whole process with Garland, and the reason I say that is he's the one I'm most convinced has to go. Like you, I think the Allen-Mobley call is very close.
Yeah.
I'll go on to make my point why I think it should be Allen that stays in a second. But I think everybody here is in agreement that Garland's just not a fit.
Yeah, no.
I'm not knocking Darius Garland's game. I'm not.
No, he'll probably be good somewhere else.
He had some really nice minutes in the series, particularly against Boston.
Yeah.
But he also had some inexplicably bad moments.
Oh, terrible.
Leaving your feet nowhere to go with the basketball. Out of control drives at the end of quarters and halves and games. You can't have that. That's when you have to be buttoned up and at your best. Mm-hmm. And that tends to be when he is at his worst. Inexplicable turnovers. The 8-second violation. Like, what is that?
No excuse for that.
Okay, maybe in a regular season game against, Atlanta, that happens. It can't happen in a playoff game. That just shows lack of focus. And so I think that might be an issue with Darius. And one of the criticisms allegedly from Donovan Mitchell is that perhaps at times he doesn't take things as seriously as he should. Yeah. Look, Donovan Mitchell is who you want as the face of this franchise moving forward. He is your leader. He is the one saying our bar isn't high enough.
Right.
He is the one saying guys have to button it up and come to play. We can have fun, but you've got to be serious. We have decided, is the face of the franchise. You must get him to sign a long-term deal. Now, if you don't get that, I'm not sure you're so quick to trade Darius Garland. And so I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's a difference. Yes, no doubt.
If my priority list for the offseason is absolutely, number one, get the deal with Donovan.
No doubt.
Once he's inked long-term, move on from Garland.
Yes.
Once you trade Garland, what assets did you pick up when you moved him? That might help solve the dilemma, Allen or Mobley, depending on who you get.
Yeah. Before you give your point on why you think Allen, and by the way, and maybe I shouldn't change based on one series, but I would have been more into trading Mobley than Allen probably before the Celtics series.
I think you're right. You were leaning that way.
But between what happened in the Celtics series, the way he played, and some of the stuff about the way players felt about Allen's situation,
that one didn't help.
That didn't help his stuff. But I think the Cavs are way more likely to trade Allen than Mobley.
I agree with you.
Whether they should or not,
who
knows?
No, you made a good point. You said unfortunately, we didn't have the control in the experiment.
Right.
We didn't get a long stretch without Allen but Mobley.
Right.
But I do know this. My eyes didn't lie from January 1st to the middle of February when it was Allen and no Mobley. My eyes were not lying to me when they went 18-2.
Yeah.
When they won 17 of 18. A lot of people want to point to the schedule. The schedule is what the schedule is. The fact of the matter is, in Cleveland Cavaliers history, they have never had a 20-game run where their margin of victory was what it was during that 18-2 stretch. And that includes any 20-game stretch with LeBron James on the roster.
Right.
What I saw was the kind of product that translates to playoff wins. Outside, 4 guys, 1 in, and Allen filled that role marvelously. And they had shooters on the floor. Everything opened up. The spacing was there. That's why they were hitting so much. Why was their three-point shooting so much higher in that 20-game stretch than at any point in the regular season? Because of the style of basketball they were playing.
Yeah.
Teams had no choice. And the spacing was there. The threes were there. Merrill became a folk hero in that stretch.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden became irrelevant when Mobley came back.
I think you also have to take in consideration coaching, right? And a lot of people say, what was JB going to do? What was JB going to do? What was JB going to do? He didn't have this. He didn't have that. Well, last year you said what he's going to do, he didn't have any shooting, right? So this year the guys come out and they're not shooters like we thought they were. But one part of coaching that everybody forgets is I always go back to this, and it stuns me that people don't understand this. When I used to work in management, we had people that we would recruit and we would interview. And we got to a point where we were interviewing twos. And it got to a point where we were turning down a lot of candidates. And then HR came in and said, why don't you like this guy? Why don't you like this guy? What's wrong with that girl? What's wrong with this lady? And then we go down through the list of the different things. And she said, listen, guys, look, you're not, in this position, you're not going to get A players walking through the door all the time.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you're not going to get B players all the time. It's your job. That's why we hired you.
Turn the C's into B's.
To turn those C's into B's and
Right.
the B's into.
No, that's true.
So my thing is, when you say Evan Mobley ain't it or this guy ain't it, what does JB do? Who did he develop? Who did he get that went to the next level? Because when I look at it, I look at the Denver Nuggets and why they are good and how they got good. You know why? They got Porter, right? He came in at 3. He became a real stud. 6'8", can shoot. Out of Missouri, had back problems, but they developed him. Halliburton, guess what?
Yeah.
Developed him. Maxey developed him. You don't just get guys that are finished products.
So are we all on the same page that the page needs to be turned from JB?
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. And I give him credit. I thought he had them playing their asses off, totally undermanned against Boston. I think we can give him credit. Say I thought he did a decent job in that
I
series,
do
considering,
too,
and I still think it's time to move on.
That's the price.
No doubt.
That's the price to admission, boo. When people say you play hard, that's a price to admission. That's that's like saying, well, I showed up today.
No, but I think you could still. I agree with you in general about that, G. But considering how shorthanded they were, I mean, I thought they were going to get killed in those 2 games.
To a man, I look at it like this. You never say that, and this is just why I'm trying to elevate the bar. When you see the Miami Heat, we don't ever say that.
No, that's fair.
We know the Heat. When you step on the court, you know what the expectation is.
No, that's true.
That's right. And that's got to be, we should feel that way. We should
what, though?
expect to win a championship.
Well, we've talked before about teams.
Yeah.
The decision to fire a coach, there's two layers to it. Who comes in? And right now, I don't know who that guy is.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
And so because of that,
Yeah.
That might actually impact their decision to move on. Because you can't, I get that if you've made the decision that he's the wrong guy, then you're better off moving on sooner than later.
Right.
But what do you do in replacing him if the right guy isn't there?
That's fair. I would say this, though. It's very clear, and Jason's talked about this, that Donovan Mitchell doesn't believe in him.
Yeah,
and if your best player is not buying into your coach in the NBA, you got no chance. So they got to find the right guy. Like, we'd all love to bring Ty Lue back. I'd love to bring Mike Brown back, but that's not happening. But
no, I don't think either.
There's got to be a guy out there. I mean, there's got to be, you'd think.
I would think
but
there is.
I think G gave you. So. I think the 2 things that are the total indictments are: 1, the best player doesn't like him; 2, what you said, who's gotten better.
Yeah.
I'm looking. I'll be looking.
Yeah.
I'll be looking.
Now, I would say Donovan Mitchell's played his best basketball as a Cav.
Right.
But I'm not giving JB any credit for that.
Jared Allen had a great year.
Yeah.
Right, you know what I'm saying? But he's more of a.
But he hasn't taken a guy out of nowhere.
Right.
And made him, I don't know. I don't see it. I think it's time to move on.
I got a question about Jared Allen.
Shoot.
So per Jason's article, he talked about, Jared didn't even attempt to try to play. And that kind of ruffled some people, some feathers within the organization.
Right.
And he believes that you can't bring Jared Allen back. Do you all believe that that's enough in itself to move on from J.A.?
I don't know. I need more information.
Yeah.
I need to know which players were saying that they weren't happy about. And here's the other thing with injuries. And for all of us that have played sports and have had injuries, we know exactly what I'm about to say is true. Mm-hmm. You cannot understand what a player is going through with a specific injury. We've seen guys play with torn, well, hell, Jack Youngblood played a Super Bowl with a broken leg. We've seen guys play with torn ACLs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We've seen other guys come out and not be able to go back in with a torn meniscus. It's almost impossible to understand what pain a player is dealing with because every injury is different. So I'm not giving Allen a complete pass because I think one of 2 things happened. Either what we're hearing in the media now is true and that he didn't want to take a shot, or the Cavs wildly misdiagnosed his injury from jump. Because remember, after Game 5 of the Orlando series, the word was he was day-to-day.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, day-to-day turned into week-to-week, and we never saw him again.
It was a very
and I like to make the evaluation. I always say this, man. You know, the injuries. I done had a lot of injuries. Who knows how? I don't know what his body feels like, and I don't know what his availability was, or if he would have been effective if he did play. So my thing is, I always err on this. It ain't about what you did off the court. It's about what you do on the court.
When you're on there.
When you're on there. And I'm talking, and we've been talking about the overall fit for 2 years. Can you play two big dudes who cannot stretch the floor? And when you look and watch, Mobley has been effective when Allen isn't there. Allen has been effective when Mobley isn't there.
Right.
And that just shows you, like, okay, well, let's reevaluate that. And not only did that, the whole thought process with the core four, because we let Kobe Altman off the hook here a little bit, but you not only had that at your 4 and 5 spot with figuring out how you're going to coincide, but you also have that in your backcourt. And then you complicate things with putting Max Strus at small forward when he's not a small forward.
No.
And you're trying to make him a playmaker. The first game, I knew it was a wrap. The first game they was playing when they got him. I'm like, Max Strus is just dribbling up and down the court. When he start doing that?
Well, remember, the very first game he played, I believe he had a career high.
It was against the Nets.
It was the first game of the season.
Yeah.
And what shocked me was they won on a buzzer beater, I think from Mitchell.
Yep.
And in the interview after the game, Strus said he wanted to shoot the last shot.
Yeah.
I said, boy, you
And,
don't
and
cut
he,
it out.
listen, he had a tremendous game, but I immediately, I remember, file that away. That could be a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to know your role, and his lane with this team is to be the shooter that can add some spark and some quick offense. But he is not the guy that you want with the ball in his hands with 20 seconds down to go, down one score. The other thing that we haven't talked about, and hopefully we can, because I know we got a guest coming up in a second. But the one thing that I think we have to talk about in this grand discussion with the Cavs is Kobe Altman. Because if you look at his offseason acquisitions, last year the determination was made, we need shooters.
Yeah.
He went out and got guys that we all said, wow, we're better.
Right.
He got Niang and he got Max Strus. The fact of the matter is, these might have been A-list groceries when he brought them home, but they were not integrated into the meal the way we thought they would be. Is that on Kobe? Is that on JB?
Strus did a little better at the end of the playoffs, but Niang was terrible.
Niang was awful.
Overall,
Hold that thought.
Yeah.
Because the guest isn't here yet, so we're going to pivot.
Okay.
We get a read in. We're going to talk about Kobe Altman for
good.
as much as we can.
Okay.
And then if the guest shows up, we'll pivot to the guest. If not, we can take this conversation going.
Very good.
All right, let's time to hear from FanDuel one more time this week. It's winner take all time in the NBA, NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. All you got to do is visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. All right. Go off, because I'm in total agreement. It seems like Kobe Altman is getting lost in this entire conversation.
Yeah, and I don't think he should be. Now, I'm not advocating that he should be fired. I think that the organization has to look at everybody, and I'm sure in these the autopsy takes a couple days. I think people were saying, they should both be fired tomorrow. Like, I think that's a little bit disrespectful.
Wow.
You've got to study it. What do you got?
Breaking news, it seems like in the Bleacher Report, this is by Brian Windhurst. It says, Allen likely to be shopped this summer. Cavs could explore a trade for big man amid Donovan Mitchell rumors. And it's by Brian Windhurst.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I mean, we figured it would be either Allen or Mobley.
Yeah.
And you said the Cavs are married to Mobley.
I think so.
They are enamored with him and his high-end potential. I think his numbers in the Boston series were good because of Porzingis' absence. I think he still could have played well, but he would have had the numbers that he was able to put up.
That's fair.
But they're clearly married to him, and they think he's the future, not Allen.
Yeah.
So I think your assessment is right.
Yeah.
Garland's going to go. Allen's going to go.
Let's go. Shake it up.
Donovan
Brand new
has
mix.
to be signed to a long-term contract. Likely JB will go, not for certain, but and then Kobe Altman is kind of the elephant in the room.
Right. I think it's fair. I think it's fair to ask if you trust Kobe Altman to make these big trades.
No.
Because if he screws them up, then eventually Even if Donovan signs long-term, we know in the NBA, if they screw up these trades and the team goes backwards, eventually Donovan's going to say, I want out.
Right.
They need to look at they need to, and Donovan will probably say this. He's savvy enough. He's grown up in the business. He ain't going to say this stuff publicly, but he's talking to him like, look, man, I need somebody. First and foremost, if there's any possibility that LeBron is coming back, I need somebody with some cachet to be able to pull that off. The big thing in the room is, what does Dan Gilbert think about all this?
Yeah, that is. I was talking with Jim Donovan on the air yesterday on Channel 3, and the one thing that I said was really the biggest player in this whole drama.
Yeah.
We don't know where he is because Dan is not as engaged with the team as he has been in years past.
Right.
Old Dan would have fired both today.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but clearly things have changed with his health, and we don't know where that's going. I do think, though, that the Kobe Altman thing is going to be fascinating to watch moving forward. Because if you're going to make these moves, the first move if you know Kobe's going to go, he's got to be the first move.
Right.
You want your new GM to put his fingerprints on the team.
Right.
So I think he'll be the first domino. And I'm not saying to fall. I think they'll make a decision on Kobe first. Does he stay or does he go? If he goes, then all bets are off. The new GM is going to come in. He's going to want to evaluate JB.
Yeah.
He's going to want to look at all of the different trade scenarios. So it's going to be a crazy offseason for the
Last thing real quick, though. If they fire Kobe, they got to do the first thing. They haven't done this in forever. Every other GM Dan Gilbert has hired has been the guy who was the assistant.
You're right. Yes.
And I think it's time, if you're going to move on from Kobe, and I got no problem if they do, get somebody from outside the organization. You need like a fresh eye on this team.
Yeah, and there are some organizations with some very talented young assistants.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City, Minnesota. There are some
Miami.
Miami.
Can we steal somebody from one of those teams? Let's go.
I'd be fine with that. All right, it's time to bring in our next guest. We talked about the Guardians and the Twins series this weekend. It's a big one, and we're going to see the City Connect jerseys. Everybody's excited about that. But also, and I think they started this maybe a couple of years ago, the games on Apple TV. Was it last year or a few years ago?
I think it was 2 years ago, I believe.
A couple of years ago.
I love it because the games are in 4K.
I do too. I wish all of the games looked that beautiful.
Oh, my God. It's amazing.
I mean, it's crazy what a difference that makes. Heidi Watney from Apple TV is going to be on the broadcast crew for this game, and she joins us now. I guess are you in town yet, Heidi? Are you already here in Cleveland?
Yes. Got in last night.
Wonderful.
Took a walk down to the Pro Hall of Fame. It's great.
We apologize for the weather. I mean, it's going to be better for the weekend. It looks like
it's supposed to clear up tonight for the game.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
we hope it does.
I think it'll be all right.
Heidi, first of all, tell everybody a little bit about the broadcast. There's some fans that don't really know how to get it, where you get it, what's involved. Tell us a little bit about the broadcast crew, your role, and how fans can watch this.
Well, Wayne Randazzo, Dontrell Willis, and myself are doing the game for Apple TV. This is the third season of Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV+. Nice. There's a doubleheader every Friday night, so 2 games. Tonight, I believe the games are at the same time, but sometimes they stack them, one East Coast, one West Coast. It just depends. This year, they're going with just the better matchups. And I'm excited to be in town to do Twins Guardians because this is a great division rivalry. Guardians have been playing really well, first in their division. The Twins hit a little bit of a speed bump against the Yankees, but they're a good team this year too, and they were one of the hottest teams in baseball heading into that Yankee series. They need some like Jobu Juju against them.
My God.
But it's on.
They've been getting killed by the Yankees for 20 years.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it really is.
It really is. Going back to like 2002, the record is just a trip. But Apple TV Plus. I neglected to do it this morning, but as soon as we're off here, I'm going to post a link on my X account at Heidi Watney for a free 2-month subscription if you don't have Apple TV. So you can go there and sign up. I say come for the baseball, stay for Ted Lasso or The Morning Show or any of one of the other great shows they've got on Apple TV because they have a lot of great productions. But yeah, you can check us out for free if you have it. But you can get it anywhere. You don't. All the parameters of having different streaming things, you just have to have some sort of internet connection or phone connection to get it. As in, it is true 4K. It is the only thing that is shot in 4K and uploaded and broadcast, and that's why the picture quality is absolutely amazing. And we have a lot of, fun bells and whistles too. I'm going to be interviewing a Guardians player right as they take the field tonight. We have manager interviews in game, so we get to talk to them. We get that real-time feel to the game. Wayne Randazzo he's just an encyclopedia of baseball knowledge. He's amazing. The stories he pulls out, I think I found cool stories to tell during the game, and then he goes and tells an even better one. So he's amazing. Dontrell Willis, everybody loves the D Train. He's fantastic.
Well, wait a second. I'm a Cubs fan, so I still get the willies from Dontrell Willis. Every time I see him, I get a little anxious. But no, he's great, and the broadcast is great. And Heidi, I'm not just saying this because she's here, but I believe Apple TV. I love Apple TV. I believe they have the highest percentage of good shows. Obviously, like Netflix has more stuff than Apple TV.
Sure.
But if you look at
they're about quality,
percentage of quality original content.
Yeah.
Apple TV, in my opinion, beats anything. You didn't mention Severance, which is great. Silo is another great show on Apple TV.
Oh yeah, Silo's great.
Almost everything I've watched on Apple. Now, Ted Lasso is the best. We just watched it with my son for the first time. It was my third run through of Ted Lasso.
No kidding.
It's one of the great. I think it's maybe the best comedy of all time, along with Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Wow.
It's just it is the show of the 2020s. It is, because we needed it at a time where COVID and Republicans and Democrats hating each other. This was something that everybody could come together on, and it made you feel good. It made you feel good watching it. So that's absolutely true. And I love the 4K. I mean, once you watch a baseball game, or any sport, but once you watch a baseball game in 4K, it's high def, which is still great, but it's hard to even go back to traditional high def, because the 4K, I feel like I'm sitting behind home plate.
It does.
Watching the game.
What it did for me, Heidi, is after I saw the first game on Apple TV, every other baseball game I've watched since then, it's ruined it for me. Even, as Bull said, in the high def, because 4K, my reaction to 4K, I remember when high def came out, and I said, I can never watch standard definition ever again in my life.
Yeah.
There was that big of a leap from standard definition to high definition. I think the jump from high definition to 4K is even better.
It's crazy.
It does feel like you're right there at the game.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I asked my bosses at Apple, why our picture quality is so much better than everyone else. And they went into a very technical explanation of how it is actually shot in 4K, uploaded to a special place somewhere in the Midwest that can only upload this, and everything else is actually shot in 780 and up-resed and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Anyway, if you haven't seen Friday Night Baseball, as soon as I'm off of here, I'll go post the link on X. You can sign up and get it for free for 2 months, and you can watch, because it is absolutely stunning. And we have, all the cool equipment, the Megalodon operator, which is the camera that's on the Steadicam. The guy runs all over the field, and he's right in the players' faces, which they probably hate. But it brings the fans closer to the game, and it gives them that in the dugout, on the field feel. That's the big thing with Apple, is they want it to be a good experience for the fans, and that's all they care about.
Heidi, what do you think about the City Connect uniforms? I'm a big jersey guy. Do you believe that they should wear the City Connect jerseys more than once a week?
They're sweet.
Well, it depends on which city we're talking about.
Tell me which ones you think are trash.
Yeah, we love the new Cleveland ones.
I like them too.
Yeah.
I like them too. I think it's cool. I like how they were going after that Cleveland, the nod to the city, the nod to the connection that so many people feel. I mean, Chris Rose, I absolutely love the guy. Every time I was in Cleveland, 2016 postseason, I was here the whole month, I would text him, because I'm like, your city is great. It's 72 and sunny. That whole postseason, the weather was fantastic.
It was great that year.
But yeah, yesterday it was great. I landed, I went for a walk. It was beautiful. I'm sure it'll be nice tonight. But I feel like people who are from the land just embrace that fact and that feeling and that culture so much, and so that's what they were going for. And I really like that they did that. I heard Josh Naylor's a huge fan, and he's gonna talk to, I think this usually starting pitchers get to pick which jersey they wear, within the team parameters of what they have to wear. So I think he's going to be pushing to wear these more often. I like them. I think they look good.
I think they're great. Heidi, the game itself, the one thing that the Guardians are missing is Stephen Kwan. Obviously, the starting pitching, too, with Bieber going down early.
The biggest thing is Kwan,
I keep watching this team, and I keep asking myself, who the hell is going to be the leadoff guy in his absence for however long Kwan is gone? Now, I know that they're still stringing wins together, and they're winning here and there. I don't think they're the same team they were the first month of the season when Kwan was out there. What's your assessment as to how they fill that spot? Can they fill that spot? Because it's clear they're a different team without him.
Yeah, Stephen Kwan has been fantastic for the Guardians. He's that true leadoff hitter, that contact guy. I think he's riding 70-something streak of not striking out. It's insane. It's amazing. His on base, his bat to ball, he's just your prototypical leadoff guy in a world where a lot of teams are getting away from that. But he does set them up perfectly. And then you've got Naylor and you've got Ramirez and you've got Jimenez and all those guys that can come and get some more RBIs because he's always on base. They do definitely miss him. I believe, though, I think he's going to be back in a couple of weeks. It's not as bad as they initially thought. They just have to string it together for like 2 more weeks. They can get him back. It's not like he's been down a long time and going to need a lengthy rehab and recovery for that. But yeah, I who fills that spot? I mean, it's really tough when you have a guy at the top of the lineup that's perfect for that lineup. And he's really been the catalyst for this team. And that's one of my points in our open tonight is going to be, the runs per game, the runners with scoring position, which Andres Jimenez has been great, but you got to have guys on base in order to do that. Cleveland's offense has been impressive, though. I mean, I think they're top 3 or 4 in the American League in most offensive categories this year, which you're not used to seeing from Cleveland, and I think is helping absorb that blow of losing Shane Bieber even more.
I'm worried about
when he went down.
Sorry,
go ahead.
No, I appreciate it. I'm sorry. I'm worried about the sustainability of it, even when Kwan comes back, because their numbers with runners in scoring position are so positively out of whack. I just don't know if that is sustainable. And right now they're getting almost nothing offensively out of center field, catcher, shortstop, right field. That's 4 positions that they're really getting nothing from offensively. It makes me nervous. By the way, I gave the Guardians the answer, and the Guardians in the leadoff spot the last week are about like 2 for 30. I gave him the answer a week ago, even though this guy doesn't play every day, and I know he's not a traditional leadoff hitter in any way, but I'm leading off David Fry because he's good at getting on base. Since he's come to the big leagues, all he's done is get on base. And I know he's not a big runner, although he can move for a catcher. But anytime he's in the lineup, I lead him off, or I bat Jimenez 1 and bat him 2 because he's good at getting on base. But I am worried about the sustainability of this offense. Are you?
No.
Okay.
Especially because Kwan's going to be back in a couple weeks. It's a 6-month season. 2 weeks is such a small. I mean, I know he's already been gone for 2 weeks, but once he's back, summer's cooking. You guys, the offense, it's not like one guy that's getting everything done. I know Stephen Kwan sets the table, but you have, we have a graphic in our research pack this morning that talks about Josh Naylor, Stephen Kwan, Jose Ramirez, and Andres Jimenez, and how the 4 of them have been stringing it together. The positions you mentioned not producing offensively is pretty much traditional across baseball. You don't usually get a lot from your shortstop unless it's Carlos Correa. You don't usually get a lot from Bobby Witt Jr. in the division. He's pretty good. You don't usually get a lot from catchers. Center field's not necessarily a power position. Those are your defensive positions, right? And the defense for Cleveland has been great, as is traditionally, the bellmark of that team. It's defense and it's pitching. Your bullpen has been the best in baseball once again. That was what carried Cleveland in the years when they were running to the World Series in 2016, was that shutdown bullpen, and they've got that again. You've got Tristan McKenzie emerging as a superstar. Dontrell loves this guy. He is his due, so expect him to heap a lot of praise on him tonight on our broadcast. But I think if you can get enough offense, you've got all those other pieces that can keep the team afloat, and you're getting enough offense, and you've got guys like Josh Naylor and even his brother Bo that are coming into their own. Austin Hedges just got his ring last week in Texas, and I remember them saying, like, seeing your teammate get that can just kind of remind you where you want to be and give the team a boost in its own right. He walked around showing it off and then said, all right, we're back to the here and now. Look, you get a Twins team limping into town. You take advantage of that. You go for the kill. You extend your division lead. That can do a big thing for a team that's missing that prototypical leadoff guy that's a catalyst for your team, but he's going to be back in a couple weeks. You just have to string it together until we get to June, and then someone else will probably get hurt because it's baseball. But you've got the team. You've got the team that can kind of sustain it.
Heidi, Stephen Vogt, who I fell in love with in spring training, is a funny guy, and I'm not sure that the Cleveland baseball fan has been introduced to his sense of humor at all. He does impersonations. He does skit comedy. Like, the guy could be on Saturday Night Live. He is that funny. I'm wondering if at any point in the broadcast tonight you guys have anything planned to either tell stories about that, show past video clips of him doing some of his impressions. How are we going to introduce the Cleveland baseball fan to his sense of humor? Because I'm not sure it's been done properly yet.
Wait, how has the Cleveland baseball fan not been introduced to the referee, the personality? Yeah, that is Stephen Vogt. He's fantastic. I used to fill in Unintentional Talk at MLB Network, and it was always a joy to have him on. It's always a joy to see him. In fact, when I saw him when we would do games in Seattle last year, I asked if that personality is still out there, and I'm sure behind closed doors that he's showing it to his players, but he's in a different role now. So he has to, be a little bit more serious, but that's part of his charm, is that he can navigate both things really well. Yeah, we'll definitely be showcasing some of that on the broadcast tonight. I can't wait to sit down. My favorite part of every week is our manager meetings, where we get to sit down for 15, usually goes a little bit longer because I ask a lot of questions and I'm quite chatty, but for 15 minutes just in the manager's office with them and talk about their team and what's going on. And I haven't had a chance to do a Guardians game this year, so this will be my first time seeing Steven in that role in person in his office, and I look forward to that because he's one of my favorite people in the game too. Just a genuinely good human being, not to mention the impersonations and the great personality that he has and his ability to really bring people together, which was why he was a major leaguer for so long. Obviously, he had the talent and the skill, but he was one of those clubhouse presences that people wanted on their team because he's just that guy. And now he's heading up the Guardians. And no wonder there's good vibes in Cleveland right now with him at the helm.
Heidi, I'm a little nervous. I look at this division, and this division traditionally is not that good. It's one or two teams at the top. But this year, there's some teams hanging there. Everybody in the division besides the White Sox have been playing decent ball. Do you expect that to continue, or when is the shoe drop on some of these other teams besides the Twins and the Guardians?
I expect it to continue. I mean, we just had the Royals last week? I don't know. They're all blending together, but they're a dynamic team. Bobby Witt Jr., oh my gosh. I'm sorry, Cleveland fans. I love him. He's a six-tool player because he's mastering that mental element of the game too. He's such a grinder. I mean, he's what you want to build your team around. He reminds me a little bit of Dustin Pedroia, not as loud, cocky, swaggy, but like just a hard-nosed player that came up in the game and wants to do it right. And then you've got Salvador Perez, the veteran that went through the rebuilding years, and they were fun to watch last week. And then you've got young team in the Detroit Tigers too, and AJ Hinch. I just love him, and I think he's a great manager, and he's really good. When he came over to the Astros, it was the same situation. They were a building team, and he helped guide those teams into the years where they had success in Houston before the whole scandal and all of that. But so I don't think, unfortunately for the Guardians, I don't think any of the teams in the division are going anywhere, but the Guardians are a good team too. And that's good for the Central because, the AL and NL Central have been kind of doormats, at least in terms of like the national scale, how people have viewed those divisions. And they're good now, and they're challenging, and they're outside of this Twins performance against the Yankees, which again, I think we need to go do some sort of like Jobu something to exercise those demons for Minnesota. You've got four solid teams in this division, and then you have the White Sox, who are actually playing better the last couple weeks. So who knows?
Heidi, I think what it's going to make for is a long and fun baseball season that stretches into the fall. September is going to be wild when all these teams are playing games against one another, and that's when the division should be decided, and I think it will. Heidi Watney, you do a fantastic job.
You, Heidi.
I've always been a fan. Keep up the great work, and we'll enjoy your broadcast tonight of the Guardians and the Twins on Apple TV. Heidi, many thanks.
Yes, I'll go on X right now and post that link. If you've never seen us, come check us out tonight.
Yeah, that's great. Heidi, thanks. We appreciate it. Yeah, that's a great deal. So 2 months, she said.
Yeah.
So go to Heidi Watney's X account, formerly Twitter, and click the account and sign up, and you get it for 2 months for free, which ensures that you'll be able to watch tonight's game. And I contend that once you watch tonight's game, if it's the first one you watch, you'll make it a habit on Friday nights, even if it's not a team that you're in love with, just to watch the beautiful product.
Now, you got to have a 4K TV.
Well, most
to be able
people,
to watch it.
I think
if
most
you've bought a
people do.
TV in the last couple of years, you
have a 4K TV.
I respectfully, I think she's great. I respectfully disagree. I'm nervous about the sustainability of the Guardians' offense.
Yeah. Well, she's, I think,
without
by
any
nature
additions.
optimistic.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, the longer this stretches, as you know, when the sample size grows,
right,
and the results are still there, you get a sense more and more that this is. I think they're a 90 to 94 win team. 94 would be the high end. I do think they can win 90 games this year. And when the season started, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I'm not.
We'll find out.
I'm not there.
We'll find out.
I'm just. I think they're doing it a little bit with smoke and mirrors right now because the rotation is not very good and you got too many holes in the lineup. They got to make some trades at some point, and I just have no faith they're going to.
Trades have to happen, and you're right. Yeah. Florial has given them nothing. Ramon Laureano has given them nothing. The catching position outside of David Fry, and I got to tell you, when you first said Fry is the leadoff guy,
it sounds crazy.
You're out of your brain.
I know it sounds crazy.
It's just not a traditional move.
Yes.
But who else is going to fill that role?
Else. No.
And because he gets on base so much, hell, the whole idea is to get on base as the leadoff hitter.
This guy does whatever they need him to do. And
everyday catcher.
So good.
Are you okay with that? I mean, because it stunts the growth of Bo Naylor. What do you do with Bo?
Yeah, I mean,
they ain't going to do that.
I think Bo Naylor is so talented. I don't want to do that yet.
You know they ain't going to do that.
And they've been able, because Fry is not a traditional catcher. He's played first, he's played third, he's played left. They've had his bat in the lineup more often than not. Right now, when I'm getting nothing from Freeman, nothing from Rocchio, nothing from Arias, nothing from Florial, nothing from Laureano, and nothing from Manzardo, way too early on him, but very little from him.
Early results aren't good.
I mean, outside of Kwan, Naylor, and Ramirez, I would argue Fry even better than Jimenez. At worst, he's been their fifth best hitter. At worst.
Yeah, I think you're right, and the numbers bear that out.
Yeah.
I mean, not just the average, but the on base. The guy gets on base.
Just because the guy wasn't a hype prospect doesn't mean he couldn't be a good ball player.
I know, but it takes a special organization that can pivot on that.
Yes.
Particularly when Bo Naylor is the guy that it would be at his detriment.
Didn't you guys hear what they said at the beginning of the season? They want to play young dudes. They came out and said that.
But David Fry is young. He's not old.
Well, what I mean,
How old is David Fry?
when it comes to making trades, right? I think they're going to exhaust all options. They're going to overgive these guys an opportunity before they.
Well, they're giving them plenty of opportunity.
Yeah,
like Florial, I don't know where you are on him, Bull. I've seen enough.
Yeah, I don't need.
I've seen enough.
I've seen enough Florial and Laureano.
I think we all can agree is done. Yeah. But the $8 million price tag with him makes him a difficult decision.
David Fry is actually 28. He must have been in the minors for a while.
I like him though.
I would combine both of them. Floriano got to go.
Floriano. Okay.
Floriano. They need at minimum a legitimate hitting outfielder and a legitimate starting pitcher. I'm not saying it's got to be a superstar.
Right.
I'm just saying a legitimate starting pitcher. It doesn't have to be today. They're playing well. I think they're managed well. The bullpen's fantastic, no doubt.
But did you see the stat that the Guardians have the first, second, third, and fourth most appearances from relievers?
It's going to catch up.
In the American League.
It's going to catch up.
That's what scares me.
No doubt.
Those wheels are getting wobbly too early in the season. Now, Clase I'm not worried about. But some of these other guys, they've already got over 20 appearances, four of them.
I mean,
that's insane.
Yeah.
And that's because the starting pitching, A, has been inconsistent, and B, can't work deep into games.
No.
They've got to get better at getting into the sixth and seventh inning.
It's a killer. I mean, that's obviously Bieber being hurt is just a killer in general. But
it is.
Like, he's the one guy you know is going to routinely give you
seventh
seven
and eighth
innings.
Inning, almost out of the out of jump, he's going to give you that. His first 2 starts, it's incredible to me, is that second start when he had all those strikeouts and still pitched great.
I know.
He probably had a tear then.
Yeah,
and just gutted it out. And
he's amazing.
Man, we miss
sucks.
him.
Yeah.
All right, Earl, we got to read, and then we're going to do some Browns schedule stuff, right?
Yeah, big facts, big facts. Real quick, if you missed the latest episode of the Ultimate 216 show that I did yesterday, go back on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show YouTube page and watch it. G. Bush showed up, pulled up on your boy. We had about 400 live viewers. Great show. We up to like 7.2 thousand views. So if you missed any of that conversation, it was pretty much centered around Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, a whole bunch of Cavs talk. Go check that out. So the Cleveland Browns last year, they played back-to-back divisional games in 2023 to start the season. This year, they don't play their first divisional opponent until Week 7 when they play the Cincinnati Bengals. Are you all more of a fan of the divisional games being on the front end of the schedule, right where it's at right now, or maybe on the back end?
Well, you guys weren't here yesterday. You haven't had a chance to respond to the schedule at all.
I'll say I love it. I love it. I don't like the first and second weeks being against your divisional opponents.
Right.
2 reasons. One, not that the preseason is gone. Let's face it. You're not working out any kinks in the preseason anymore.
No.
Weeks 1 through 4, you don't know what the hell you're going to get.
Right.
I don't like playing those key pivotal games that really count for 2 in the first part of the season. The second half of that is when you play them later in the year. I know all games count the same in the standings, but that's garbage. We all know that the urgency in week 14 and 15 far exceeds the urgency in week 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. I want those big head-to-head divisional matchups later in the season when, you always say iron sharpens iron. I want the best teams from divisions going into the postseason.
Yeah.
That means you got to be best at the end of the season because that slingshots you into the playoffs. So for me, I'm all for it. I love playing those divisional games. The later, the better. We almost always end on a divisional game.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And that's the way it should be.
In fact, the Browns don't play a road divisional game till I believe week 12. Their first 3 division games are all at home. And then they
Which
play
means
the
they better win them because those last 3, that's tough currency to get.
You're going to chalk them up.
What about you, G?
I love the fact that you get an opportunity to kind of, get out there. I don't like losing. It could be a double-edged sword. If you come out, it's almost a coin flip, right, the first few games of the year. Because who you are in the first part of the year is not who you are in the second part of the year. It's just, and then also you got injuries at the later part of the year, right? So some of them teams, yes, they look like they're tough teams, but they've been through 12, 13, 14 weeks. Now you got key people out, quarterbacks may be out.
So do you,
yeah, so do you.
I mean, you never know.
For me, the sweet spot is right in the middle, right? You get some of these games that is non-divisional games to kind of work some things out. And really, the only way you can guarantee yourself a first-round playoff game or a playoff game at home is if you win your division, right?
Sure.
And so some of that stuff to me in the front part, you want to win those games, and you might want to do some things against the NFC because you want to get off to a good start. But the real test is winning those division games. So if I can get those week 7 where we are at our peak performance, we probably have a lot of guys that are still healthy. I want to see you when I'm healthiest. I want to see you when I got my people together, and then we can go from there. So I like the fact that they don't really see anybody, as far as the division goes. But by the way, 12 through 18 on paper is crazy.
Well,
really
it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Speaking of which, guys, let's bring Earl. If you could do it one at a time. The 4 chunks of the schedule. It's fascinating to me, the Browns schedule. Because if you look at the first chunk, the first 5 games of the season, were we able to do that?
There you go.
Okay, sorry. If you look at the first 5 games of the season, this is fairly favorable, right? I know 3 games are on the road.
I think that's the easiest
but
part of their schedule.
Playing the Giants, Raiders, and Commanders are 3 of the easiest teams on your schedule.
Right.
Now, on paper, we never know how the season's going to go. So, like the first chunk of the season, pretty favorable.
I think so.
Now let's look at chunk 2. Chunk 2 is a hard schedule.
Well, really, I think from here on out, it's
now
brutal.
I think it. Well, hold on 1 second, because like here you got Jalen Hurts, assuming guys are healthy.
Yeah.
Hurts, Burrow, Lamar, Herbert, and I know the Chargers. We don't know how good they are, but we know they got a good quarterback.
And we also know now that they have a good coach.
They now have a good coach. Correct. Now the third chunk, a little easier, not easy, but a little easier when you go to the third chunk, because the one thing, even though we know the Steelers are good, you don't play any very good quarterbacks in this 4-game stretch, right? The Saints, Derek Carr, you got either Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, and the Broncos got a rookie probably by that point in the season.
Sure.
And then the fourth chunk is back like chunk 2.
Wow.
Is crazy, because then you got Mahomes, Burrow, Tua, Lamar.
It's unreal.
Those 2 chunks. Now, really, from week 6 on, the Browns' schedule is very tough because we know the Steelers are tough. But in terms of quarterbacks, it's like they play Lamar and Lawrence in the beginning, then 3 weeks against bad quarterbacks, then 4 weeks against good quarterbacks, then 4 weeks against mediocre bad quarterbacks, then 4 weeks again against really good quarterbacks. It's challenging.
Throw them
no
last
doubt.
4 up, Steve. The last little chunk right here.
Yeah.
This is when you get to
That's as hard as it gets.
That's battling for home field.
Yeah.
Chiefs, Bengals, Dolphins, Ravens. That's all, and the Browns throw them in there if they're at that point. That's all for home field right there.
2 divisional games, 2 games against teams that will be in the top 2 or 3 to win the
division.
AFC.
Yeah, right.
In the Bengals and the Chiefs, I think most teams are going to have, and the Dolphins and the. I mean, that is the hardest close to a season that I can remember during my Browns fan.
Well, if you look at your easiest game in a 4-game stretch being the Dolphins at home,
and they're going to win their division. I pick them.
They have a good chance. They're in the mix. Sure, yeah.
That's for home.
That's a tough schedule. But listen. Here's the thing.
That's what you want.
And I've said this before, Jay. When you have a good team, and now we don't know. We know the Browns, or I think the Browns are a good team.
Yeah.
I think they can be a great team. That's up to Watson.
Sure.
Whether they're good or great. When you're a good team and you're a real contender, it shouldn't matter who you play.
I agree with that.
It shouldn't matter.
Bring it.
If they're a good team, which they probably will be, if they're a great team because Deshaun Watson's really good again, they can play with anybody. They can win a Super Bowl.
That's right.
If you're that kind of team, that's getting you ready.
Bull, to your point,
Yeah.
nobody in Kansas City is hand-wringing over their schedule.
They don't care.
And in Cincinnati, they likely aren't.
They don't care.
It's look when you reach that point where you consider yourself a Super Bowl contender.
That's right.
Bring anybody, anywhere. I'll play anybody,
Doesn't
anywhere,
matter.
anytime. It doesn't matter. And I hope that's the way the Browns are looking at this. Now, the interesting thing about what you point out with how you break the season into quarters, it almost plays out like a football game. The first and third quarters, you have room for error there.
Yes.
You've got plenty of football to make it up. The second and fourth quarters, that's where your money is made.
Yeah.
That's where you win football games.
That's it.
Try to get that double score going into halftime, where if you get the ball to start the third quarter, you want to work things in the second quarter so you get one long possession, you get a touchdown, you get the ball to start the third quarter. So there's a lot of maneuvering in the second quarter and the fourth quarter. It plays out almost like a football game.
And I think 2 things that I got my eye on. One, the fact that the Browns get to play all 3 division teams at home first, I think is a big advantage for them.
Why?
I love being able to play my rivals at home before I have to play them.
It's funny. I looked at it the opposite way. I looked at it the other way.
Yeah.
Late in the season, we're all chasing wins.
Right, and then late in the season, you got to play on the road.
You'd rather have those games, in my view, at home because if you go on the road and steal one early in the year, now you're house money.
I feel like you can build those wins up early.
I hope so. Is anybody going to do that in the AFC though? Nobody's going to run away.
And the question is, what have we talked about with Myles Garrett? He's never good in December. He's great in September.
Oh, boy.
He's great in October.
I didn't even think of that.
He's okay in November, and he's been kind of non-existent in December.
He's been
that can't
well
happen
below
this year.
his averages.
The numbers are stark.
Yes.
I mean, it's a huge difference. That's got to change this year. They need him. They're not winning those games if he's not good.
No, you're right.
I think Myles Garrett's the least of my worries. I'm worried about Deshaun Watson.
Well, Deshaun Watson. I heard Solomon Wilcots, who's a neutral guy, right?
That's the guy.
Solomon Wilcots is on NFL radio this morning, and I happened to tune it on as they were talking about the Browns schedule. And he said, the Browns are an excellent football team. He goes, my only question about the Browns, my only question is Deshaun Watson.
Well, that is it.
That's what he said. And this is not from us. This is a neutral guy.
Sure. I mean, look at last year with 5 quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks. They willed their way to the playoffs.
Right.
You can't do that unless you're really solid on the defensive line, on the defensive backfield, with wide receivers and running backs moving the football no matter who's in there. I agree with Solomon. I think that there's one big question coming into this season. which Deshaun Watson are we going to see?
Right. I mean, what else do you have concern? I mean, you can say injuries, but that's any team. Any team you're going to be worried about.
Yeah, and Nick Chubb, obviously, because he's got an existing injury.
Sure, but
so he's a concern.
But at least they've added some veteran backs this year that have had some success in the league. They're not Nick Chubb, but they've had, and hopefully, I would think by the second half of the season at least he's going to be.
I hope so. I think the biggest game on that schedule is Game 1 for the Cowboys, because if Deshaun Watson comes out and the Browns play well, he put up some numbers, it'll calm everybody.
You want to get off that because Dallas is a good regular season team.
It's Skip Bayless, Stephen A.
Everybody's talking
everybody is talking about that. That's the Cowboys at the Browns. You got an opportunity to shut a lot of people up, because if you come out and play well, I think that calms down the media, that calms down the fans, and I think that you got good mojo going into winnable games underneath that.
And by the way, I know, Jay, you're very old school when it comes to football, so maybe you're going to disagree with this. I would much rather, I'm not going to say in a loss, but I would much rather have the Browns win a 38-35 game against the Cowboys where Deshaun throws 4 touchdowns and 350 yards than win a 12-10 game and he looks like crap. I would rather the defense look bad in week 1, because I know the defense is good. If they have a bad week against Dak, I'm not worried about it. I want Deshaun to look great. They got to win. But if you're telling me the defense is going to suck, but Deshaun's going to be great in week 1 and the Browns win, or the defense is going to be great, Deshaun sucks, but the Browns find a way to win it, I'll feel better about this team.
Long term. I actually do agree with that. Now, look, there's no substitute for winning.
I know. Sure.
I mean, it's got to be a win.
Tony Dungy once said, if I could find a way to win 1-0, I would. And I'd be fine with that. But I will agree with this. Because so much of this season is predicated on the return of a once great quarterback, we need him to be great at all costs.
Right.
We need him to be consistent. We need him to be confident. So even if they do lose 38-35, but he's got 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, that confidence is there.
I was saying a win, but if he plays great in week 1, yes, we're all going to go, okay, maybe he's back.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
That 350, I'll take it a step further.
I think G got excited when I said that.
If you said he got 350 and 4 touchdowns and they just happen to lose because Dak Prescott made some plays on the last drive.
Yeah, I'll live with that. I'm
in here. They say, G. Bush, come on, you can't do that. Whatever. It's a long season, and it was against a team in the NFC. We got everything ahead of us, bro.
Now, on the flip side, the disaster is they come in, get boat raced, 41-12, and Watson.
Yeah, that's a disaster.
No.
Then you're really looking at everything saying, where's this team?
Yeah.
That can't happen.
I can't.
That cannot happen.
I say I can't wait for football season because I can't. But I also hate rushing the summer.
Yeah,
it's a catch-22.
I'm with you.
But man, can't wait.
It's going to be fun.
Every day? We'll be back 5 days a week.
Earl, we going to do a read here?
Yeah, we're going to do a read, and we got a very special guest coming in the studio.
Very good. Now, who's going to move the chair?
All right, fellas. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your parts is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusives apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers.
Right, Earl, very good. Thank you. Well done. Time to talk PanAm Games coming to Cleveland. Matt Sanja is with the Greater Cleveland Sports Commission, and you're like the point guy for this, right? You're head honcho here.
Yeah, just working on a lot of operations. We've got a great team, a lot of people working on this. We have over 20 sports, so it's basically like planning the Olympics for adults 30 and over, and it takes an amazing team to make it happen.
So I want to first let everybody know, like you've heard of the PanAm Games. PanAm Games are essentially open. For some reason, I always used to think that it was just North America, South America. it's actually open to the entire country or the entire world. And normally they take place in a country. This is the first time. These are the Masters, they're called.
Correct.
30 and up. It's the first time that it's ever been in Cleveland.
First time in the United States.
In the United States.
Yeah. We're the first U.S. city to host the PanAm Masters games. It's an extension of the World Masters games, which take place every 4 years, and then they have these regional games in between to host in different parts of the world. So the European games were last summer, the Asian Pacific games were last summer as well too, and then we're hosting Pan American Masters games in July.
So what are the sports that are involved here?
So any sport you're going to see in Paris at 2024, a lot of those are going to happen in Cleveland. Track and field, basketball, soccer, swimming, cycling, pickleball, the newest craze around pickleball, tennis. Yeah. It's pretty exciting. So over 20 sports, and we actually have 71 countries represented currently from registrants around the world.
That's insane.
Is there qualifications? Like, can you just show up as an out of shape 30-year-old and get a team together? like is intramurals, or how do you go about picking these people?
Yeah, it's open to anyone. So as long as you're over 30, there are no qualifications needed. And
the best part about that, and I know you're going to talk about it, but they want local athletes to participate.
100%.
And so there's a participation fee, an entry fee, but as I understand it, I believe it's like $75 cheaper if you're a Cleveland resident or from the Cleveland area, right?
Yeah, there's a great new local promotion for Cleveland area residents. It's a 9-county Northeast Ohio geographical area that there's a $75 discount. So we've gotten thousands of athletes from around the world that are coming to Cleveland, but now we're opening it up to the public around here locally and saying, if you want to compete against some people from 71 different countries and prove yourself and say you're the best in the world, and you want to play basketball or run the half marathon or play pickleball, you can do that, and we're encouraging locals now to sign up and take part in this as well.
Are you going to have medics on standby at all these events?
We do. We're
going to get injured.
I've got a meeting after this actually with our 3 great medical partners in Cleveland, Cleveland Clinic, University Hospitals, and Metro Health. They're all on board to provide medical care for
awesome.
our athletes.
What are some of the venues for the events?
The convention center downtown is going to be the main hub. We have basketball, volleyball, pickleball, judo, and karate there, but we've also partnered with the Cleveland Metro Parks. So our cycling events are going to be in the Metro Parks. Edgewater Park hosting beach volleyball and a triathlon, and then colleges and universities. So Baldwin-Wallace for track and field, as well as Cleveland State for swimming too.
And what about baseball? Jay's team is going to be in there, right?
I think we're the favorite to win it.
Yeah,
got to be.
Yeah, baseball is very exciting. We're playing. Well, we have 4 baseball venues, and what the city of Cleveland has done in the last couple of years, they've renovated some amazing fields like League Park and Brookside Park. Brookside Park is now Jim Thome Field,
which is
down
beautiful,
there at Talty, which is amazing. So it's all going to be artificial turf surfaces.
Nice.
Playing baseball on those fields too, and then League Park is incredible, and the history there too. We definitely wanted to make sure we featured that. Yeah. So all our baseball championship games will be played at League Park too.
So Jay, how many do you know offhand? How many games you guys have to win the championship?
I do not. I just know that the games are from the 12th to the
21st.
21st.
Yep.
And I don't, but I've just found out recently that the Cleveland Area League, it's actually Northeast Ohio, because we go as far west as Vickery and Huron, and then we go as far east we go south to Canton and Akron. There's a big swath that our league covers. Our league is actually going to shut down for, I believe, 2 weekends. So the guys that want to play in this tournament are free, and that you don't have overlap on the schedule.
That's cool.
Which
That's
is exciting.
Awesome. That's
I'm pumped
very,
about
very
that.
exciting. Yeah.
How many baseball teams are there? Do you know offhand?
I don't know offhand. I know that there's like 8 different age divisions that are available right now. So sign up for your age division.
So how does it? I think we're in the 50 plus. I think it's 30 plus, 40 plus, 50 plus. And then there might even be a 60 plus.
I think there's a 60 plus after that as well, too. And then there's different competitive divisions. So there's a recreational and competitive if you want to just play for fun, or if you want to be a little bit more competitive. But I think most of the teams are signing up to be competitive. I think they want to go for gold.
This is what I say, Todd. If you're still playing it at this age, you're serious about it.
Yeah.
You're not just going to be a weekend warrior and say, let me go out and see if I can try my hand at baseball. I've heard, too, that so every year at the Roy Hobbs World Series, which is in Fort Myers. They use the Red Sox and the Twins facilities for all of our games for those tournaments. There are the usual suspects. There's a team from New England that's very, very good. Doug Flutie has played on that team just about every year that I've been down there. Chicago has a team that is incredibly competitive. Minneapolis. There's certain areas that have hotbeds of baseball. Cleveland's one of them. And we see these teams every year in the quarterfinals, in the elimination rounds, in the semifinals, and then in the finals. I've been told that a lot of the teams that we have to struggle with to win the championship from Cleveland when we go down there are entered to play here. So I'm looking forward to top flight competition and the games being challenging, which is what you want.
Yeah.
You want to face great pitching. You want to have these games be competitive and come down to the last out. And I'm excited.
That's super exciting.
I'm really excited.
When is the deadline for teams to or individuals to sign up?
June 12th. So we got about a month to go to sign up to register.
Now, you need volunteers, too. Let's talk about that for a second, because Cleveland typically, when we have these events, the Final Four was the most recent big one for the women, but whenever we have an event in Cleveland, I'm always stunned at the number of people that are willing to step forward and say, I'll volunteer. And you need hundreds of them. Where are you in getting to that number, and what can folks do that are watching? What can they do to get involved to help as a volunteer?
Yeah, absolutely. We have an amazing group of people, thousands of people that volunteer at events like the Final Four, and we're pretty close to 1,000 people that have already registered to volunteer for these games, which is incredible. But we do need some more help. So we do need some more assistance. We need scorekeepers for volleyball. We need scorekeepers for basketball. We need people to help us set up the venues and help out, hand out awards, the medals as well too. So on our website, ClevelandMasters2024.com. You can check out all the volunteer opportunities there. There's also, it's great opportunities for groups, for organizations, companies, church, civic organizations to volunteer together, pass out water at the half marathon, or be there to cheer on runners and help make these games a
There's
success.
a little bit of a swag bag involved, too, if you volunteer.
There is. It's pretty cool. I've got some swag on right now. You're not going to get this hoodie, but there's some cool T-shirts and a backpack.
I was about to say, you got to throw. Listen, Steve, I can't come to work. I'm volunteering. They got hoodies out here. By the way, if you win, first of all, do you get medals? Right.
Yeah.
So that's a thing. That is kind of.
This is legit, man.
They're pretty sweet. Yeah,
legit.
first, second, and third. So gold, silver, bronze medals, just like the Olympics. They've got this logo. They're pretty sweet. We've got them in, and you check out our social media page at CLE Masters 2024, and you can see some photos of the medals.
Streaming. Are you guys streaming? Where can we catch? Is it going to be on TV? How can we catch some of this, or is it just watching live?
You can watch it live, and the great part is all the events are free and open to the public. So you can show up and watch the games. You can purchase a spectator pass that actually gets you the swag bag. So even if you don't want to participate, you can buy the swag bag, purchase a spectator pass, and the cool thing with that too is it also includes your registration as an athlete.
Oh, wow.
And your spectator pass includes a ticket to the Guardians game on Friday, July 19th.
Yeah.
So you're
I
going to have a
remember
big
hearing about
section of
that.
athletes, and they're wearing those sweet new uniforms, the City Connect that night,
Yeah.
fireworks, $2 Miller Lights, T-shirt giveaway. So we're going to make that a party at the game on Friday the 19th. So you can get a swag bag and a ticket to the Guardians game.
Are these guys allowed to come and heckle me?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No restrictions against that?
Yes.
Tomatoes.
By the way, besides Jay, will there be any famous people here, like on any of these teams that you know of?
Not that I know of currently, but
Yeah.
I know that we're working with several individuals that are around the world. Sergey Bubka, who is a famous pole vaulter, is the president of the IMGA, the International Masters Games Association board. So he will be in town. I know that I don't think he will be participating in the games, but he'll be around and probably handing out some medals, and we'll be out as well too.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Well, it's going to be a fun summer for sure. And if you're sitting out there and you're like, well, I'm not sure if I'm good enough to do it, sign up. Just if for nothing else, even if if you play pickleball, you play a couple games and you're done. So what? It's still fun.
So here's what I suggest. So Corey can race in this and win all the medals, right?
Yeah, they wouldn't want Corey participating.
But
Corey would win the 1, the 2, the 4, the long jump, the high jump.
But what's up, man? I need you to come.
He'll actually be at the Olympic trials.
Come get all of the medals.
He did ask me if I was going to sign up and long jump, because there was about 10 years ago, before my last ACL, he was training me to long jump in the seniors games.
Right.
And he was like, Dad, I think you can win. I looked at what the distances are. You're going to crush everybody. and then I tore my ACL for a third time, and that.
You could have been a 2-sport winner here.
Yeah,
I know.
right.
Maybe next time around.
Yeah.
Maybe next time around. Thanks for coming in.
Absolutely.
We
Thanks
certainly
for having me.
appreciate it. And Matt, what you guys do at the Cleveland Sports, you know that I'm a big fan. What you guys do at the Sports Commission is unrivaled. Everybody over there is top rate, and keep up the great work. You really have put Cleveland on a national stage, and in this case, a world stage. So
Thank you.
Thanks
Appreciate
for
your
your
support.
work. Thanks for all your great work. All right, do you have a read, Earl, that you have to do here? Where are we going
Actually,
now?
this is how we're going to do it. We got 60 seconds. We got 3
Okay.
super chats, and then we're going to close with a word from our sponsor.
Very good.
First one. Sean says, if people think Fedor, Shams, Lloyd, and Varden are lying, I got some beachfront property to sell them in Idaho.
Yeah.
Helene says, Allen is finished product for the most part. Mobley is just scratching the surface. His upside is too great to trade him over Allen. Finally, Vernell Jackson says, bounty paper towels are tougher than Allen. Coward.
Yeah.
We'll see you Monday.
That's
Here's
harsh.
the final word from eBay Motors.
All right.
Coming up on Channel 3 at 12:30.
All right, fellas. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your parts is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusives apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers.